Well, for the sake of time, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Transfer Student webinar. We're really excited to be with you today. We're going to go ahead and get started with introductions. So, first things first, hi there. I'm Lindsay Spencer, and I'm the Transfer Admission Counselor for the Office of Undergraduate Admission. I work with our domestic transfer students. I have been working with our office for almost 5 years now, and I'm really passionate about helping students transfer into our wonderful university. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to my colleague, Teresa.
Hi and welcome. Hi everyone. My name is Teresa and I work with international students and US citizens living outside the US. I was a transfer student myself and I first came to Gonzaga as a graduate student. I've been working at Gonzaga for about 6.5 years and I love working with prospective students and families. We are thrilled to be here with you tonight and now I'm going to pass it to our colleague, Carrie.
Hi, everyone. My name's Carrie Weeks. I use she, her pronouns. I'm Associate Director of Admission, and I'm a Gonzaga grad. I'm very happy to be with you here today, and I'm going to serve as your moderator. So I'll answer questions in the Q&A function, and also I'll post some links for you in the chat. So back to you, Lindsay.
Awesome. Okay, a few logistic items. So first, please note that your mics are muted and your video is off. This is to minimize the background noise so that we can record and post this webinar later for students to access. Second, at any time, you're welcome to post questions into our Q&A function. The chat will be used for us to send you helpful links, so please direct your questions to the Q&A, not the chat. Carrie will either answer the question for you in the chat or bring it forward during our designated Q&A time at the end. We're going to get through as many questions as we're able to during this 1-hour event. However, if we don't have the chance to answer your question tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out. Afterward, our team is happy to help, and we'll have our contact info posted at the end of the presentation for you. Lastly, please feel free to take pictures of any slides. We want these to be useful to you throughout your transfer journey.
Before we get into the details, we're going to start by giving you an overview of tonight's agenda. We'll start by sharing a short introduction to Gonzaga University for those of you who might be engaging with us for the first time. Then we'll dive in to talk about transfer admission requirements and process. We'll talk about financial aid and scholarship opportunities, and then we'll review our transfer credit policies. Transfer credit tends to generate a lot of questions from students, so we'll give you an overview of what that process looks like. Additionally, we'll talk about support available to students at Gonzaga. And finally, we'll conclude our time together with a chance for Q&A. As Lindsay mentioned, you're welcome to ask questions in the Q&A throughout tonight's presentation, and there will be some additional time reserved at the end for questions as well.
Okay, so first things first, I like to give an overview of GU. So Gonzaga University is a private liberal arts Catholic university, specifically rooted in the Jesuit tradition. And if you're unfamiliar with the Jesuit order, that's okay. Jesuits are particularly known for the emphases on high quality education, servant leadership, and social justice. Jesuit education is known for being holistic, leaning into the concept of cura personalis, which means care for the whole person. GU provides a distinctive education rooted in our mission, including providing students with academic excellence, leadership development, and opportunities to become people for and with others. So on this slide here, we see some stats that help show some of GU's story. So the first one I want to point out, we have just over 5,000 undergraduate students. Our university has just about 7,000 students in total, including our graduate programs. So we're primarily an undergrad institution. So that means our undergrad students have first access to internships, faculty office hours, research opportunities, and leadership growth. You'll also see Spokane's population listed. It's not only important for you to consider the university you're applying to, but the city it resides in as well. Spokane is the perfect blend of rural and urban. GU is about a 10-minute walk from our downtown scene, giving you great access to a thriving small business community, excellent dining, a booming art scene, and nationally recognized events. At the same time, students will also have access to multiple ski and snowboard resorts in the vicinity, many biking and hiking trails, river and lake access, and active Gonzaga outdoors programming. We're going to discuss financial aid a little bit later, but you'll see our average financial aid package listed for our transfer students. 95% of our graduates are successful upon graduating, including in the workforce, in graduate school, in the military, and in service positions. And 82% of our students come from over 200 miles away. So that means our students are actively engaging in our campus life. They're not returning home often for the weekend, but rather are pouring into our campus activities and communities. Some other fast facts that are important: our average class size is sitting around 21, meaning students have easy access to professors and discussion opportunities. You can also see that we have a 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio. Our professors teach 100% of our classes, meaning you won't be taught by a graduate student at any point. Professors choose a university like Gonzaga because they want to build mentoring relationships with students. 32 faith backgrounds are represented at GU. About a third of our students identify as Catholic. Faith life here at GU is an invitation, not an obligation. So our mission and ministry team works to serve students of all faith backgrounds. And then finally, we are in the top 15 in the nation for best undergraduate teaching. Our individual programs consistently rank in the top 100 in the nation. Next, I just want to be able to highlight our admission deadlines for transfer students. First, please note that transfer students are students who have completed college credit after high school graduation. So if you're still in high school but have earned college credit, you're considered a first-year student with college credit. You follow first-year deadlines, but you get all the benefits of college credit. If you've been out of high school for some time but haven't completed college coursework yet or in a while, we will recommend recent academic coursework prior to starting your transfer process. So the deadlines on screen are for transfer students specifically, not first-year students with college credit. For fall, our deadline is June 1st. So not too late to apply. We'd love to see an application for you for this fall. For spring, the deadline is November 15th. My colleague Carrie is going to drop a link in the chat for the application. It's a very easy URL, gonzaga.edu/transfer app. I'll pass the mic to Teresa to speak about international students.
International students applying to Gonzaga have a couple options for admission. One is to apply through our standard process using dates and deadlines and application requirements we're sharing information about in this presentation. And there's also an option to apply through the Gonzaga Global Partnership, which offers extended deadlines and a process that's a little more streamlined. International applicants can learn more about applying through Global using the link Carrie will share in the chat.
So, like I said, the materials we're about to discuss are specifically required for transfer students, not first-year students with college credits. So here's a list of our required materials. All applications for Gonzaga are considered under a holistic review process. So all students will need to submit their transfer application, including a personal statement for why you're considering transferring to GU, and your resume or activities list. Doesn't have to be too fancy, that resume. There's also an application fee. I will note there are fee waivers available. And then we do have a form that is unique to Gonzaga, the Transfer College Report. You'll have this completed by your most recent or current institution's registrar or student affairs team. It's to ensure that you've been in good standing at your current institution or most recent institution. Then, of course, we're going to require official college transcripts from every institution you've attended. Please note that this includes any and all college coursework, even if it was completed while you were in high school. If you have 30 or more semester credits, or if you go to an institution with a quarter system, 45 or more quarter credits, this is the end of your list. If you have less than 30 semester or 45 quarter credits, we will review your application using our first year admission guidelines. So we will also need your high school transcripts. This is going to allow us to see a more complete picture of your academic performance. If you struggled in high school, we totally understand. We just recommend aiming for at least 30 or 45 credits then. And that can be a little complicated to determine yourself. So I would really encourage you to reach out for a one-on-one conversation about this if that's at all a concern or question for you. If you're under that 30, 45 credit threshold, you're also welcome to submit SAT or ACT scores. I do like to point out, though, this is completely optional. If you're interested in learning more about whether your scores will benefit your application, feel free to reach out to our office and we can discuss that more in detail. We can help you determine how well it partners with your GPAs.
Application requirements for international students are similar. We request that you provide evidence of English proficiency and a passport copy in addition to the materials outlined on the left side of the screen that Lindsay just talked about. Transfer applicants with 2 or more years of academic college coursework taken at a U.S. institution of higher education can meet the English proficiency requirement with coursework. A combination of English composition and/or speech classes with a 3.0 or better will automatically meet the requirement. We also accept a variety of English proficiency exams such as TOEFL, IELTS, ITEP, and Duolingo. And we do offer an English proficiency waiver as well and encourage you to reach out to us if you believe you might qualify for a waiver. Carrie is going to share a link in the chat where you can learn more about some of the options available for meeting the English proficiency requirement.
Wonderful. Okay, let's talk admission guidelines. So, for students who have under 30 semester, or like I said earlier, 45 quarter credits, we look for at least a 3.2 or higher high school GPA. We're also going to look for successful college performance, and that means a 2.7 or higher GPA. We're also going to require good standing at your current or most recent institution. Like I said earlier, test scores are completely optional. For students over that 30/45 threshold, a 2.7 GPA is required both in your most recent term and cumulatively. You must also have good standing at your institution. It's important to note that all majors except for nursing are available to transfer students. Carrie's going to drop a link in the chat to our academic programs. The QR code on the screen also links to the same webpage. Next, let's go ahead and talk about financial aid. So we have some really amazing colleagues in financial aid who will put together a financial aid package for you upon admission. If you have questions about your package or need help with the FAFSA issues this year, our financial aid team is happy to meet in person, via Zoom, or over the phone. Carrie's going to drop a link in the chat to our financial aid webpage, which includes their contact information. This is where it gets a little more detailed. There are many different types of financial aid. First, all transfers are evaluated for merit scholarship with their admission application. This is going to be based off your application strength and your GPAs. We also have a couple more competitive scholarships, the Transfer Opportunity Scholarship and the Global Diversity Scholarship. These scholarships do not require a separate application. They are evaluated internally and are awarded based on admission application strength, financial need, and academic performance. We also offer a PTK scholarship. So for those of you who are in the community college systems, if you participate in Phi Theta Kappa for a year, you will be awarded an automatic $3,000 a year. So if you're invited to join PTK at some point, please, please, please sign up. Carrie's going to drop a link to our scholarship webpage in the chat as well. We also have need-based aid. This is awarded based off your FAFSA. If you and your family identify as undocumented, you can use the WAFSA if you live in Washington State, or the needs analysis form if you live out of state. Carrie's going to drop a link in the chat for those 3 applications. So there's 2 main types of need-based aid, government-funded and Gonzaga grants. Government funded can include grants, which don't need to be paid back, work study, which allows you to work on campus, and loans, which you do need to pay back, but often government funded loans are lower interest and have better benefits. Gonzaga grants, on the other hand, are awarded if GU is able to support students with additional financial need. These do not need to be paid back since they are grants. We also support military-connected education benefits. So if you are a veteran yourself, a spouse of a veteran, or a dependent of a veteran, we have a great team who can help you decipher and fulfill your VA benefits. Carrie's going to drop their email in the chat. It would be vabenefits@gonzaga.edu. They're a great, great resource. Students are also always welcome to pursue outside scholarships. We actually have an external scholarship database available for students that I think is really useful. We're sending a lot of links, I know, but Carrie's going to drop that link in the chat as well to our external scholarship database. Students are also able to work during their time at Gonzaga, either on campus through work study or off campus. I do want to quick note, just as we're looking at this financial aid webpage, students who've already earned a bachelor's degree or higher, we call you post-bac students since you've already earned that degree, you're only eligible for government-funded aid, outside scholarships, and self-help aid. And then Teresa's going to touch on our international transfer applicants.
So international transfer applicants are eligible for the same merit-based scholarships as all other students, and these will be your main source of Gonzaga-provided funding. In addition to merit-based scholarships, you may also be eligible for additional Gonzaga scholarships, such as the Transfer Opportunity Scholarship that Lindsay mentioned, PTK, the Global Diversity Scholarship for international students, or external scholarships. You'll also be eligible to work part-time on campus and off campus while participating in programs such as curricular practical training or CPT and optional practical training such as OPT.
Next, let's talk about our transfer credit policies. Here is a brief summary of the timeline. So students, of course, first must apply to Gonzaga, turning in all college transcripts and required materials. From there, you'll hopefully receive a positive admission decision. After that, all of your potentially transferable courseworks, course descriptions, and if required, syllabi are reviewed for possible Gonzaga equivalencies. Then you receive a laid out transfer credit report via email.
For students who have taken college coursework outside the US, we'll request that you submit a course-by-course evaluation done by a NACES member company in addition to course syllabi with English translation. The course-by-course evaluation will help us determine the transferability of your coursework, and the syllabi will help Gonzaga faculty review for and determine Gonzaga equivalencies.
For coursework to be transferable to Gonzaga, it must be regionally accredited or internationally recognized. It must be academic in nature, and you must earn a grade of a 2.0 or higher. We also accept AP, IB, and Cambridge credits, along with up to 25 elective credits for military credit. You can also see a full list of our articulation agreements we have with Arizona State, California State, Idaho State, Oregon State, and Washington State. I'll pause so that you have a chance to look at that. If you hold one of these approved associate's degrees, you wipe out all of our core curriculum except for a couple seminars, some philosophy coursework, and a religious studies course. All in all, this is a really great pathway for our transfer students. If you're a post-bac student, remember that's students who've already earned a bachelor's degree or higher, you also benefit from this same policy. If you don't have one of the approved associate's degrees, don't worry, we still have some really great credit waivers available. For students who are coming in with at least 30 semester credits, your foreign language requirement is waived. The foreign language requirement only applies to our College of Arts and Sciences majors. If you have over 45 semester credits, you waive the language requirement along with our World Comparative Religious Studies course, 3 writing designated credits, and 3 core designated credits. And if you have over 60 of transferable semester credits, you also waive the language requirement and world comparative religion course, along with all 18 of our core designated credits. If you have courses that could possibly apply to a major, minor, or a concentration at Gonzaga, we do require you to turn in syllabi from those courses. Gonzaga faculty will evaluate if your credit is equivalent to GU coursework. All courses are evaluated on a course-by-course basis for possible equivalencies.
Coursework taken at institutions outside the US also goes through a syllabi review process. Award of credit is determined by review of the NACES affiliated evaluation I mentioned earlier in conjunction with Gonzaga faculty review.
And if you leave here in this webinar with nothing else, Gonzaga University is a welcoming and supportive institution from admission through student life to graduation. So we have some really amazing offices on campus ready to support students. The first office I like to point out is our transfer veteran and returning adult services team, also serving first generation initiatives. As the name suggests, they serve our transfer, our veteran, and returning adult students along with our first generation college students. And here at Gonzaga, we define first generation as first in your family to get a 4-year degree.
International Student and Scholar Services within the Center for Global Engagement provides a variety of support services and a sort of home away from home for international students. There's a study space on the second floor of their office that's open and available for all Gonzaga students. And international students will have a dedicated international student advisor, attend an orientation specially for international students, and receive support in maintaining your immigration status throughout your time as a student. ISSS also hosts workshops to support students in submitting their taxes and applying for programs like curricular practical training and optional practical training, which allow you to gain work experience related to your major.
We also have our Unity Multicultural Education Center and our Lincoln LGBTQ+ Center. They provide a safe space to our traditionally underrepresented students while also providing educational opportunities for the entire campus community. Mission and Ministry is available to serve students of all faith and spiritual backgrounds. They're available for one-on-one advising, for helping find a faith community on campus and or in Spokane, and for interfaith events and retreats on campus. The Center for Student Academic Success includes our academic advising team, our tutoring and writing centers, and our disability access team. We also have a great Center for Cura Personalis, which is a team of caseworkers available to help students identify resources on and off campus. Like I said earlier, Cura Personalis means care for the whole person, so they'll help you identify resources. Excuse me. My apologies, everyone. They're going to help you identify resources for physical, academic, spiritual, emotional, or mental needs. And then finally, our health and counseling team is available for minor medical appointments, counseling sessions, and therapy groups. And then I have talked a lot, so we want to make sure to give space for any questions that you may have. Carrie, are there any questions that have been arising?
Yeah, we've got some great questions. So let's get started here. So there's a question about, can I switch majors if I change my mind after I enroll?
Wonderful. Yeah, I can take this one. Absolutely. So we do not have additional major admission requirements at Gonzaga. I previously mentioned nursing is not available as a major, so you can't switch into nursing as a transfer student, but you can switch across majors at the university. I typically would recommend doing that earlier than later from a major requirement standpoint. It's easier to complete your major requirements earlier on in a timely manner rather than 2 years in realizing you have a heart for a different major. But absolutely, you can switch majors, you can add minors, delete minors. We have a really great academic advising team and a really great registrar team who can help support that.
Great, thanks, Lindsay. Can you say the minimum college GPA that's required again?
Absolutely. We look for at least a 2.7 college GPA, and we'll look at both cumulative and your most recent term for that.
Okay, now we have a couple of questions about the application itself. So does the letter of recommendation have to be academic?
We would strongly suggest getting an academic recommendation. That can be an academic advisor or a professor. However, if that's not possible, a professional recommendation will also do. We can happily accept like a supervisor, a military sergeant, or someone similar.
And a similar one about letters of recommendation are, how many of the letters are required?
We require just one, but you're welcome to have as many as you'd like submitted.
Can you, for those who don't know the term demonstrated interest, maybe you want to define that, but this person's asking about, is demonstrated interest important for my application?
That's a great question. So I always recommend to all students, regardless of what university you're looking at, reaching out to the admission counselor of that institution is always a good idea. Attending events like this, always a good idea. So that's what demonstrated interest is. It's interacting with the admission counselor, interacting with events and activities and webinars that that admission team puts on, things like that. So we do consider demonstrated interest as a part of your application. So again, signing up for webinars like this, shooting me or Teresa an email, all of that can look nice on your application.
Great. And then if I have transcripts from a long time ago, do I still have to submit them?
Yes. Yep. We do require transcripts from all institutions attended.
Great. Just a couple more here. This, you already talked about majors, but maybe just to answer more specifically, is engineering available to all transfer students?
Yep. Engineering is available. Where the confusion might be is we used to have additional major requirements for our engineering transfer students, but we since do not have that. So if you've seen that on previous web pages or documents, that might be where the confusion comes from. But engineering, all of our engineering majors are absolutely available. All majors except nursing are available.
Great. This person writes that they're a little bit worried about their GPA or and their coursework. Is there someone they can contact?
Yes. Both Teresa and I would love to help you with that. Our contact information will be at the end of this slide. We can easily meet with you one-on-one.
Great. How can I visit campus is another question.
Absolutely. Gonzaga.edu/campus visit. I used to work in our visit office, hence why I have that URL so easily memorized. But Gonzaga.edu/campus visit, that's a great way to visit campus. We do a lot of phenomenal programming through the year. And we do offer summer visits if we're looking at this summer as well.
Great. And then from a first year student who has college credit, where can they find more information about first year deadlines? I can take this one. I'll put it in the chat for you so that you have that.
Awesome. Carrie's one of our great first year admission counselors for context. Thank you, Carrie.
You bet. And I'm not seeing any more come in.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, just a reminder to everyone, these questions do not have to be limited to this webinar space. This is where I'd really encourage you reaching out individually. We truly are happy to answer questions via email, or we could set up a Zoom or phone call as well. Wonderful. Okay, let me go to the next slide. We just have a couple more. I just want to point out we do have one more webinar this spring. We're doing a webinar surrounding student employment if you'd be interested in attending that. And then we'll, of course, have more webinars in the following school year as well. And we also have posted webinar recordings from past webinars on this same website as well. So if you want to go to gonzaga.edu/virtual Gonzaga, you can find all of that there. And we got a similar question about this, but we'd love to continue connecting. We have campus tours, preview days. We offer both virtual and in-person information sessions, admission meetings, financial aid meetings, and faculty interactions. Gonzaga, Carrie just dropped that link in the chat. So we'd love to have you come visit campus soon.